when we talk about a product is something that we are using, right? And even Kotler, he when he defines marketing, he basically says that anything can be marketed. It can be a person, it can be an idea, it can be a place, it can be an event. You can market basically anything. Similar to that, Kotler's definition for a product is anything that can basically be sold to a customer, right? And could somehow satisfy a want or need in the market, right? It can be sold to get the customer's attention. It can be built, for their consumption. And of course, just like anything can be marketed, almost everything from an event to an object to a person to an organization, everything can be treated as a product. So if you look at how a product is built, let's say for example, India Gate basmati rice would be a product. It's a physical product rice, right? When we use it to make a biryani, let's say, then that biryani is a product, right? So India Gate is selling that their basmati rice as a product. Some companies selling biryani as a product. Now, when this biryani is being sold in Paradise in Hyderabad, then Paradise, the place, the restaurant or what the place stands for, that is also a product. And when you are buying Paradise biryani in Swiggy, let's say, then for you, Swiggy is a product. So if you look at the value chain, everywhere you basically using smaller products to build other products, right? So everything from a physical rice to the idea of Paradise biryani to the smell that you get from Paradise biryani, everything that you can basically market is basically how you're building a product to finally how you're selling it on Swiggy. Now, when we talk about modern products, we basically talk more about apps and websites, something like a Flipkart, Uber, Swiggy, Zomato. These guys who have really done great product work to build their team or their products forward. But every product that you see in the market, every app is a sum of multiple smaller products that go into it, right? Let's say for looking at a simple Swiggy's home screen, you'll see that they're doing no contact delivery. So there is a product team behind it, a supply chain team, a fulfillment product team, who are designing how the no contact delivery product would be pushed in, right? There is an offers team, a rewards team, a lock-in team to ensure that customer retention is there. Customers are getting rewarded. Everything that you're seeing, a restaurant, grocery, meat store, F&B, fruits and vegetables, everything is a separate storefront handled by a separate product team. Whatever you're searching, whatever you're seeing on homepage, all are separate products, right? Whatever Swiggy is saying is a top recommendation for you. So all of them are individual products that are finally building into the whole Swiggy experience that you're saying, right? So if you go into a Swiggy's office, if you look into how Swiggy would be structured, each of them would be separate teams that are working, led by a separate product manager, right? Or a product manager team, a team of product managers. And finally, all of them are coming together to build the final experience that you are getting on Swiggy, on the app. So basically, one of the most famous definition of the product manager, that is something that almost everybody follows, is they are called to be CEO of the product. So in case of Swiggy, someone who is building the recommendations engine, he is the CEO of just the recommendations engine, right? And what basically very in top level, what a product manager does is he tries to find a balance between business, customer, and technology. Now I'll tell you what this implies. So let's say if you're a business analyst in a company like Swiggy, what you'll be looking at is data, right? You'll be crunching a lot of data to understand, okay, this product, let's say this is whether demand is high, this product demand is low. No, this is what the trends in the market are. So as an analyst, probably you're looking more at a business side of things, right? You're looking at numbers to understand what the needs are. As an UX designer, you are designing the screen how Swiggy is looking at. You're more looking at the customer experience side of things. As an engineer, you're looking at the back end and how the technology is built to power Swiggy as a whole. But as a product manager, you are the CEO of all three of this. You need to find the balance of how can I use find the right business needs to solve, how we can build the right customer experience around it, and the right technology that supports it. Right? What it means is basically if you find the right problems to solve, which basically means that your product would be valuable. If you find the right customer experience, then only it will be usable. And if you find the right technology, then only it will be feasible. And that is where the product manager comes in, right? An analyst will tell you what the valuable things are, what you need to do. A CX guy will tell you, or a UI designer will tell you how the experience should look, how it can be usable. An engineer will tell you how the backend should be. But a product manager will sit at the top and decide how the three can be balanced so that the needs can be met in the market, right? So it will be about finding the right problems by creating the right value, finding the right solutions which would be usable and making it feasible at the same time, right? Which should mean that it's tech is available to do it. Right now, if I, let's say, want to power something, crunch, let's say, trillions of rows of data in a second to make a recommendation, that may not be possible by my systems to process, right? So it has to be feasible to know, okay, what is the solution I need to push and what is the time in which I want to push that solution. Just two examples to compare here. Let's say for Netflix, they understood that the right problem at that time when they shifted to the digital model was that people were shifting from a physical objects to their computers. They were using their computers for movies. They were no longer coming to rent DVDs from parlors, and they build the right solutions right around it. The interface that you see, the experience that you get on Netflix, the recommendation system, and all of that, and they did it at the right time. Right, they knew when the problem was to be solved. Just a counter example: Flipkart a few years back tried to do image search on trying to you can do an image search and select a product that you want to buy. Right, it seemed like a right problem to solve because that is how people basically buy clothes and all. But they came up, but the image search option did not turn out to be usable because many of the times you see a cloth, right? You want to see a dress and somebody else is wearing it, right? You see it in a street, you see someone walking in a cloth, in a shirt or a dress that you really like, but you cannot take an image of that person, right? It is complete violation of privacy. And once you come back home, you have completely forgotten how that looks. So you have a problem, right? That people want to use, have images in their mind that they want to search, but there was not the right solution to how the image can be captured. And that's why when the product was launched, it completely bombed and they had to remove it. Currently, Amazon Flipkart is again going back and trying to redesign the flow and come back with better image capture solution. So that is, and all of this fits into the product management concept, because the product manager at that time for Flipkart, for Netflix would have made that call. At times, it would be a successful call. At times, of course, it can go wrong, but it's the product manager who sits at the top and makes that call how this should be balanced. And product management is as much as about deciding what to build the right product as also about knowing what is the product that should not be built, right? So on a day-to-day basis, what does a product manager do, right? As a product manager in any of these big product companies or in a startup, you'd probably be doing one or two things on a daily basis. But overall, over your career, you definitely be doing all of this, right? And this is sort of works in a progression. If the most important thing that a product manager needs to do is find out problems that exist, right? For Swiggy, let's say, if there's a problem, let's say of deliveries becoming late, or during COVID time, you cannot deliver at people's doorsteps. So you find these problems, right? And to help out in all of the process, product manager would be helped out by the rest of the teams. You are the CEO of that particular part of the problem, and you have teams that are supporting you to get to the solution to that problem. So you'll be finding problems to solve, right? That is step one. And you'll be building some hypotheses around it, right? Hypothesis building. And I'll come to an example from the next slide to explain each of these steps in details. But you'll find some problems in the market. You will build some hypotheses around it. Okay, let's say, let's say if you're CultFit, right? And CultFit, as a CultFit, you want to start delivering healthy food to doorstep, right? You have a set of gyms. You already have an image in the market. Now you want to expand it and become a healthy food delivery service company, right? This is something that CultFit is doing. So they would have found this problem space, right? They would have done customer surveys, have understood that guys would have complained that even though we are doing a lot of exercise in gym, when I'm going back home, the food that I'm eating is unhealthy, and I cannot really control that, right? So that is one problem space that we would have found. They would have built some hypotheses around it. Can we deliver that food? Would it be profitable for us? So for that, they would have done some market research, right? To try to understand customer and build out based on that, that's some data analysis. Okay, if this is the amount of money I'm going to spend to build, let's say, a delivery service, versus this is the revenue I'm going to get from that service. So a lot of data, such data will go in. And based on that, there'll be 4 or 5 solutions that the product manager would be thinking through. These are the different ways I can tackle the problem. And finally, prioritize one solution based on the requirement of the business, right? When it comes to prioritization, the prioritization call will vary widely based on the requirement of the company. So at times, when the company, you're looking at the long-term vision of the company, you'd be prioritizing something probably that takes 6 months to build, but at the end, it will be a very strong and robust solution. But let's say something like a COVID, the coronavirus situation hits very suddenly, right? As a company, you don't know what to do. Then you build solutions, right, that are very short term, that you can implement in a week, in 2 weeks. And even though a 6 month solution might be the better solution to do in the long term, but the short term demands might overcome the long term needs, right? So that is how the prioritization call that a PM needs to take, right? Based on that, once you have that solution in place, that this is what I want to do, you go and implement it. Before that, you create a requirements document. This is something that will come to later also, which is the most important thing that a product manager does, is to convert all of this into a document to tell you exactly, which is called a PRD, or a product requirements document, which tells you exactly what the problem is, what are the different solutions that could have been, and how you're planning to solve it. And that document would be taken up by engineering for implementation. So if you tell, okay, this is how I'm going to build a delivery service. So engineers and data scientists, UX, ops, they're all going to sit through and implement that solution. So there'll be, for something like something like that, Cultfit's delivery service. So they have to build the backend software. They have to build serviceability. They have to build a supply chain, right? So all of these implementations will take place. And this is the part where it will come to the program management part of product, what a product manager does. It's around 30 to 40% of the job. It's basically removing roadblocks. Just like a CEO, after you plan the project, you're given a go ahead, right? Just like a CEO would need to make sure that the product reaches the end. As a product manager, also you have to be very hands-on, and reach out to teams where things are not moving, find out what are the blockers, right? What you need to resolve, what are the points that have been missed while solutioning, and close all of that to ensure that whatever you have planned actually comes to a fruition. Then you do engineering does a deployment and release, you overlook that. And that is not where the work ends. Once the product is out in the market, right, it can be a small change on Swiggy, like if you as small as shifting the search button from point X to point Y. So something very complex like building a complete COVID supply chain, right? So whatever is happening, you need to track the metrics. What is happening in the actual scenario once the product has been rolled out into the market.